Hello everyone, today we have a random how-to, a do-it-yourself thing. So if you've ever had a vehicle with a dead battery because you were away too long, well this is going to stop that. So there's some sort of parasitic energy loss when a battery is hooked up to a car or a motorcycle. Something about the system, it just drains the battery over time. But for several years now I've been putting these battery kill switches in. And then I come back after like 4 months and the battery's fine because it's completely cut off from the rest of the vehicle, so there's no parasitic drain of power. Please someone, if someone knows more about that, explain why. Anyways, this will probably be my 5th vehicle where I put in a battery kill, and so I thought I'd do a video about it. So all this stuff I got off AliExpress. This is one item right here. This is a 300 amp on-off switch. And they have some where you can bank 2 batteries into this thing, but since I don't have 2 batteries in my car, it's unnecessary. So it made CE rose, so hopefully this plastic, it will not catch on fire. And then it came with these nuts and bolts, which frankly I find to be a bit of a mystery. And the reason being is, if we look at this, there are hex recesses in there, to run this, but how that doesn't actually keep the cover on, right? So, I mean, if you're gonna just bolt this to a piece of metal, I guess, but this is kind of close to the bottom. It would freak me out. Ideally, I would want this bottom piece, this bottom cover, to have those hexagonal recesses, so then after I wire this up I can then do this and then have it insulated. So it's excessively long, so it's a little bit of a mystery. If you want to actually just have this cover on with the nuts and bolts, you're gonna first have to cut down the bolts because they're too long, and then B, you're going to have an air gap because the nuts here are taking up space. But you know what I'm probably going to actually just do, because of that weird design, is I'm just going to probably crazy glue or silicone glue this cover in place, because once I have the wires, I don't need to open it again. So looking at the back side of this thing, these are 17 millimeter nuts, by the way. So what we're going to do is basically put this in between the battery and the positive cable of the car. So if I want this thing on, that would be green and on. I guess my battery is situated in this fashion. So it doesn't go that way, it only goes this way. Off, on. It won't go to these two halves because it's only a 2-position switch. Alright, since both of these are running just the positive side of the battery, I just had to get 2 cables off AliExpress. This nut and bolt are mine though, I did not buy these. I do want to let you know that these openings are 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter, and same with these. So as you can see, you can remove these cables from any side that you wish, and logically, since there's a partition here, it would probably make sense if I ran it like this and like that. So then you have the lock washer, so this nut will not undo. If you're gonna be like putting this into an off-road vehicle and you're afraid of the thing vibrating loose, I suppose after you tighten those, then you could put thread lock right here and here. But the reason why I didn't put them on first is I don't want to insulate this nut, with thread lock. I doubt it would insulate, but just to be on the safer side. So with that partition, there's just no way that this is going to short circuit. I've come to realize the cable, the way I mounted it the first time, it's actually rubbing this plastic. So I'm actually going to flip over the cable completely like this. So now it's floating in this opening, and so any sort of vibration won't cut that insulation over time. So you can see the wires there just floating now that I flipped them over. And I didn't have any silicone glue. I had some contact glue, but then I remembered engine bays get really hot, so I don't know if contact cement is going to work. It might just melt. Silicone glue would work, obviously, but because it's good for high temperatures, but I don't have any, so I thought I would, I'm just going to bolt it together. And so that led to some questions. The standard bolts it comes with are 40 millimeters long, but if you can use, if you want it just to be flush, you can use a 30 millimeter bolt. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm reusing the nuts here. Well, I guess you should probably know what these are. I think they're M5s. Yeah, these are M5 bolts and nuts. So, yeah, you need an M8 hex to actually tighten this, and then you're gonna need a 4 millimeter hex wrench. So on this Mazda 2, the positive was here, and I'm also going to install a voltmeter, which I'll show at the end. But basically now I'm just going to take this nut and bolt, connect it to this positive thing, also I kind of feel like I'm going to have it dangling there, possibly. I don't want it obviously near any fan belts or anything like that. Put this back. Maybe it'll be better if I put the voltmeter above. Now because this is off, it shouldn't actually spark or anything like that, I would hope. If it does, this is a faulty switch, right? I guess I'm gonna... Unfortunately, this little plastic is getting in the way. So I have to go over here and do this like that, or like that. I guess that works as well. Now, I'm not going to get a tool in there very easily, so I'm going to go in this way. So, it's not tight right now, but you can use that slack to kind of figure out where you want to put it. Unfortunately, it's going to have to go here, or the hood's going to, I think, wreck it. And then I'm probably going to have to get some electrical tape and cover that up as well. In fact, I should do that here. So I figured I don't even need the electrical tape. What I had to do is reposition this. That way there's no possible way this could accidentally, touch that. So it's quite far away. So everything's tightened down. The only issue is this thing is colliding with the wire, so I basically just got to clip some of this away now. There. So, not much to it. And yeah. So nothing's going to collide with the trunk. Naturally, with some zip ties, you might want to move this down In fact, I could actually probably, no, I can't. If I trimmed away some of this metal, then I could bend it and then sink that further down, but I guess I'm just gonna leave it like this. As long as I zip tie it so it doesn't come up and over, it should be fine. So I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see. First, I put a zip tie down and around this plastic so that contact can't be exposed. And then I took 2 zip ties and I zip tied to that, so it's always pulling downwards. You don't want to zip tie to a bunch of thin cabling because you might tear off the cables, right? Well, this is a metal bracket. I also know that zip ties don't last very long, so even though that's kind of a wide zip tie, I'm gonna have to make a more permanent solution. Probably some metal wire or something, you know, or some really thick zip ties, but even thick zip ties tend to crack over time, so okay, well anyways, I'm gonna turn it on. So it's just gonna sit there, and yep, there you go. Okay, so it's not too hard. By the way, this is 4 AWG wire. It's a little bit overkill because the distance isn't very far, and this is a small 1.3 cylinder engine. 300 amps is way high capacity. It's just that this is the smallest form factor of a fully enclosed switch that I could find. This car probably pulls 100 amps of power. Even if you have a V8, you know, even a V10 probably wouldn't pull. I don't know. 300 amps is overkill. So the switch isn't an issue. The wire isn't an issue. You can get thinner wires, but they cost negligibly less money. So you might as well just get the thickest wire so there's no overheating of the cables. And then here I just have, you know, the it's actually a USB. It's actually a USB cigarette lighter thing, but it has a on and a voltmeter. So basically I can just always check what the voltage of the battery is, and then it's off so it's not draining any power, right? And then it's got a little waterproof cover. As long as it's down in here, I don't think it's going to be a problem with the hood as far as clearance goes. Okay, well, anyway, so if you have a bunch of vehicles and you're sick of dead batteries, it doesn't cost much to get a kill switch going. Thanks for watching today. Hopefully I helped you out. And please leave any comments if you think any of this is dangerous.